Hey guys, I'm Cameron. Does everyone else want to introduce themselves?
I'm Sabri.
I'm Farah.
All right. Well, today we're going to be talking about the Kanye controversy. Does everyone know what that is?
I'm aware.
All right. Well, so my first question was just basically what are you guys' thoughts on everything that's gone on?
Kanye needs help. Just like if you're surrounded by people that want to make money off of you and not help you, then that's what they're gonna do. And he's been in the public eye for a long time, and everyone's known for a long time that he's mentally ill and that he's not taking his medicine. And then when you leave crazy people to their own devices, they're gonna come up with crazy notions. And this is just one of those things.
It's not surprising to me because, this isn't the first time he said stuff like this. So it's pretty typical and it's not really surprising, but it is surprising about what his brand deals have actually started to branch off from him because he said controversial stuff in the past before, but they never really said anything about it. But now they're actually kind of like separating themselves from him.
Yeah. Since you just joined, do you want to introduce yourself? And we're saying what our thoughts are on the whole Kanye controversy.
Should I just start talking about him?
Just your name and your thoughts.
My name is Bradshaw, and I think he has some mental issues. It's hard to get mad at him. I mean, it's not hard to get mad at him, but I understand what's going on. But it's a problem that's going on with him, and he's gonna lose a lot of money and sponsors and everything he has because of the stuff that's going on with him.
Yeah, I agree with what all of you guys have said too. The parts where you're talking about he's mentally ill. He's been well, not him being open, but it's been a known thing that he has bipolar disorder and that he's not accepting help or doing what he needs to do to manage that. And Fair, to your point about how he's said in the past lots of racist things and stuff about how slavery was a choice, and he never lost any brand deals for that too. But now he's starting to lose endorsement and get canceled by everyone. He had already been canceled within the Black community before because of other stuff he'd been saying, but now everybody's canceling him over these anti-Semitic comments that he's made. So what are you guys' thoughts on that too? The fact that he's now getting canceled and wasn't before.
I honestly find it very interesting how all of a sudden everybody or all the brands are suddenly caring now that it's not, because in the past he said more anti-Black things on the internet, but now that it's anti-Jewish comments, now everybody's like, oh my gosh, he's a terrible person. I mean, not that what he said was okay, it's still not, but the fact that everybody wants to pay attention now that it's not something that he said against Black people this time. Now everybody wants to pay attention.
I think it's a couple things. Like, it's first of all, Black people in positions of power definitely need to have stepped up when it comes to that and said that we're not going to stand for it. Because I guarantee you, the Jewish executives at Yeezy definitely said, I don't feel comfortable dealing with him in this situation. You know what I mean?
I think because of the type of person Kanye, because of the person Kanye is, the stuff that he was saying before could have been like taken as a joke by a lot of people, but now it's getting too far, and he's saying it as if it's like as if he's more serious about it. So.
Yeah. When I talked about this with my friends, like we're talking about how because Kanye is Black and he said the racist things about Black people, then people didn't really take it that seriously. But now that he's talking about Jewish people, people are starting to take it more seriously. Like that might be a reason why now he's starting to get canceled, because he's like talking about groups he's not a part of. But like, I also found it interesting because one of my friends brought up to me that like Adidas dropped him after these comments, but there have been like speculations and stuff like that like Adidas, like the owners of Adidas are Nazis. Have you guys heard that? Because one of my friends who's Jewish was like, that's interesting that they did that because people have been saying this for some time.
Adidas also lost like 40% of their stock value because Yeezy's gone. It's crazy. And like, I don't know. Kanye's a dumbass.
Yeah, but like, it's also like he's struggling. Like you can tell, or like how it looks is that like he's like really struggling with his mental health. And I don't know, like my friends, they were talking about how like canceling Black people publicly in the media tends to give not Black people a platform to degrade Black people. So they're like, what Kanye doesn't needs right now is not for us to exile him out of the community, but for him to like get actual help because of his mental health. Like, do you guys agree with that, or like?
Yeah. Well, also, he definitely has a lot of mental health problems, but also I think he's so confident saying a lot of these stuff because of the fact that like how now Adidas is down 40%, right? 40%. Like companies like this really need him. They really profit off him. So I think he's that like he didn't expect them to actually end up dropping him because they actually need him.
To me, I don't know. It seemed like he said this things because he's like going through a manic episode to me. Like, because I know like with bipolar, when you're going through mania, you're not really thinking about the consequences. Like you think you're on the top of the world, you don't think nothing can hit you. So that's what it seems like he's going through to me. But then that also can shift to like the topic of like how we view mental health within the Black community too, you know? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
A lot of older Black people think mental health is a joke, to be completely frank. Like if you ask a lot, they don't buy into it. Like they think that you're being basically a sissy. If you say you have mental health issues, a lot of them don't believe in it, etc.
Hey, Farrah, we're talking about Black mental health and how that's seen like within and outside the Black community. We can hear you. Something happened?
Okay.
Well, yeah, I think his mental health is just being taken as a joke. So like nobody's taking it seriously because he's just mostly because he's making these crazy statements. So they're more focused on that than his actual mental health, because it's like usually when you think about somebody's mental health, you feel like sorry for them, or like try and help them, but nobody would want to help somebody that's making statements like this that everybody in like the world is hearing.
Yeah, that's like such a good point. Like, especially because he's suffering with like bipolar disorder and everything. And I know that it's like talked about, but not really known about too. Like, because when you think about someone with mental health issues, like you said, like you think it's somebody that to feel sorry for, but like with like mania and everything, like they don't seem like, well, I mean, clearly Kanye does seem like he needs help, but like it's not like depression where they can't do anything or like they're sad and like down all the time and like you don't really like you can, it's like a different kind of struggle, like so people
Highly
aren't really taking it this. No, what were you saying?
Kanye is highly functional. That's why people don't really see it. Like some people, like if they have depression, they're not very functional. But there are some people like who have severe depression, but they can like push through it. Like they call that highly functional.
Yeah. And also like what's up? I feel like there's like this thing like within the Black community, like we know that like because of the way Black people are viewed, one like one person who acts up, right, or makes a mistake or is struggling, that gives everyone a chance to be like, oh, well, look how Black people act, you know? So I feel like we have a tendency to cut people out when they're struggling. Like, so if we like say like, oh, we as a Black community don't claim this person, then they can no longer be reflected on us. But like, this doesn't really happen with other groups, or like, not that I've seen really. Like, I don't know, I feel like we tend to exile people who are struggling. Do y'all agree? Or have you seen something different?
I agree with that, but um, there's a lot of cases where that's not the case, because in Kanye right now for Kanye, that's what I'm saying. It's only because he's acting crazy. For a lot of other Black celebrities that have like mental issues, we still claim them because they're not acting out, they're not acting crazy. and they can still get help. But for Kanye, it doesn't seem like he can get help at the moment, like because he's going through a lot of stuff, and then he's just making it worse for himself by the way he's talking.
I think I disagree.
Um,
Oh, sorry, you go first.
okay, can you guys hear me? Okay. I think another reason why the Black community seems to push out Kanye so much is because the way he's like expressing his mental illness is like, his discriminatory comments, especially against his own people. And I think that's another reason why a lot of people tend to turn away from Kanye instead of like trying to help him through his issues, because his issues come out in a way against us. So instead of like the stereotypical like depression, just being sad or whatever, he like, I don't know how to but the way he outputs or expresses his mental state is against us in a way that nobody wants to deal with him, if that makes sense.
I think the Black community actually doesn't run away, but like with Kanye, the reason he's getting canceled right now, Kanye's fans are mostly white. Like this guy does a lot of pandering to the Caucasian race and community. Like if you check out like a lot of people on TikTok, they'll be like, "Oh, he's my goat. He made graduation." Like they're all white people. It's not the Black community that's shunning him, because we still like a lot of Black people honestly gave up on Kanye when he said, "What's it called? What was it? Slavery was a choice." Like, but his true fan base is primarily full of white kids. Like if you go to his concerts, stuff like that, you see a bunch of white teenagers, white kids. He has their whole generation in his hands. Kanye does a lot of pandering to the white race, and that's why like when he said this stuff, that's why his fall off was so like sudden. Like he doesn't have his fan base isn't branched out anymore. So it was all this one specific group of people.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I've also heard a lot of Black people be like, "Oh yeah, no, I don't mess with Kanye no more, but his songs are still on my playlist." I don't know if it's just white people, you know?
I get what you're saying. Even although the stuff he says, it's honestly, never really going to affect people listening to his music. People are still going to listen to Kanye songs. He's been out for forever. His old songs, even songs on the Donna album, people are still going to listen to it. So it's not really going to affect I feel like people are going to start separating the music from the artist now, because nobody's going to like cut off Kanye altogether. Like realistically, no, but they will have his views on him, but it's not really going to affect his music career per se.
I kind of agree, but like he said, the white kids going to the concerts and stuff. Black people are always gonna listen to Kanye's music, but they're probably not gonna be at his concerts like all the other white kids were before he said um, this new stuff that he said. But they're not gonna go to his concerts because they don't support him as a person. Usually, people go to concerts to support the person as a person, like as the artist, but also because they like their music. But Black people don't go to his concerts that much anymore compared to white people because they don't support him as a person. They just like his music.
Yeah, that's true. I get what y'all saying now. Cause in terms of like being canceled, Kanye's been canceled for Black people for a while, but like he's only just now been canceled for white people. So I get what y'all saying about like how it is white people, like, you know, like still like now, like the people you're probably seeing are white people because Kanye's been canceled for Black people for a while. But also like in terms of canceling in general, like what are y'all's like views on cancel culture too? like, you know?
Honestly, I think it's very difficult to like full-fledged cancel a celebrity, especially someone as big as Kanye, because I'm pretty sure everybody knows who Kanye is. So to cancel him 100% and nobody like for nobody to ever buy his stuff again, to ever listen to his music again, that possibility is very unlikely because of how big his name is. So I don't think cancel culture is very realistic in what it's meant to do. But I feel like all it really does is spread awareness of what an artist did for the reason why people are trying to cancel them in the first place.
I think cancel culture is a little bit dumb. I like to give people second chances. Like, I think everyone has the ability to be better. I only think you should be canceled if you've like repeatedly shown that you're not going to change. You know what I mean? And I feel like everyone makes mistakes, and like online, it's really easy to pretend like you're not, that you're perfect, and to go behind someone and make them seem like they're completely evil for making one mistake. But like, we should all keep in consideration these are actual people who make mistakes as well, and that they should be given the chance to like what's it called, be forgiven. Like, what was it, that one comedian that was going to host the Oscars, but he was like what's it called, some tweets came up and he had apologized for him, and it was obvious that he was like sorry and remorseful, like that he wasn't the same person, but they still tried to cancel him. And then when they tried to have him come back, he was like disheartened by it. It was a whole thing. But I think everyone deserves to have a second chance, basically.
I agree with what he said. Yeah, I was going to say like the same thing.
Yeah. Do you like think canceling Kanye will be beneficial? Like, do you think it'll like accomplish, like, what is like the purpose of canceling Kanye? Like, what would that gain, and what is the goal of canceling him? And like, do you think it will gain anything?
I don't think it won't do. I mean, I don't think it will do anything, to be honest, because he knows that what he's doing is wrong. It's just it's his mental illness. It's his fault, but it's not really his fault, if you know what I'm saying. So, because cancel culture is usually like to make the person basically pay for what they did, I guess. So like they're not on any platform. People aren't listening to them anymore. But I don't think like Kanye already thinks he's above everybody, so it's not going to change anything no matter what they do.
And also notice for like Kanye, everyone's still stuck on the Jewish stuff that he said, which was wrong, obviously. But he said that he knows what it feels like to have somebody stand on his neck after making fun of what's it called, George Floyd, saying that he died of fentanyl. But that's not in the news anymore because they don't care about that. They care about what he said about the Jewish people prior, which in my opinion isn't even as bad as what he said about the George Floyd to George Floyd's family. George Floyd.
No, yeah, I agree. Before you mentioned it, I had actually completely forgotten about that, which is kind of crazy in your point. Like, people aren't even talking about that.
The media is going to pick and choose what they want to remember, and especially who he was talking about, because since that was about the Black community, America doesn't really care like that. But as soon as it's the Jewish community, somebody that's not Black, and then everybody's attention is going to go towards that. Now, in terms of, do I think people are going to stick on this for a long period of time towards actually going to affect him in a cancel culture wise? I don't really think so. I feel like they're going to forget, or it's going to pass their minds in about a month. But it really depends how strongly his fan base cares about the Jewish community.
Yeah. I mean, for me, with like canceling him and everything, like cancel culture was like originally started to like get powerful like celebrities and stuff to like think about and reflect on the actions that they've done to others, like, and so that they're not, because like when you're that powerful and you have that much money and that much fame and everything, like, and you do something that harms someone without canceling them, it's just kind of you just kind of move on with your day, you know, like it doesn't really hit you like, oh, I just hurt somebody or whatever, you know, like that's like what cancel culture was supposed to be for. But I don't even think canceling Kanye would accomplish that because, well, I mean, we don't know this, but it seems like what's wrong is that he's struggling with his mental health, you know, like it's not like he's like making these decisions with a sound mind or whatever. And I feel like even if like it's already affecting him, right? Like he's off of the Forbes billionaire list, I think, and he's lost a lot of money. But I don't think that canceling him will help at all because like the issue is his mental health. The issue is that he needs to take his meds. The issue is that he needs to see someone about everything he's going through. I don't think like no matter how much money he loses, like as long as he's in this manic state, he's probably going to keep making these actions and it won't even like hit him to stop or like that what he's doing he shouldn't be. Because like now he probably feels like he's being victimized, even though he's the perpetrator of all of this like hate, you know? But I don't know if that means that he shouldn't be canceled, you know? Because even though canceling him is not going to do anything, like should we not do it at all?
I mean, no, I think we still should, but I think it's gonna start hitting him now because it's like messing up his money and stuff. I don't think he like all celebrities don't really care about what fans say unless it ends up messing with their money and like everything that they've been working for. Like because they're so much higher than everybody else. They genuinely think that in their brain, so they don't care about what everybody else is saying because they think in their brain that everybody is under them. So yeah.
Do y'all watch basketball? Because Kyrie Irving, same things happen to him, but Kyrie's a little different because he didn't actually like promote any hate. Like he didn't say he was gonna go DEFCON 3. He sent a link to a movie. I haven't watched the movie, so I can't say anything about it, but people are saying it says some anti-Semitic stuff. And then a book that he sent had some anti-Semitic things in it, which he apologized for both. They suspended him without pay, and they want him to do like a full apology. They want him to do a whole bunch of stuff to make him play again. New York Knicks are not doing anything, or Nets, sorry.
Yeah, I heard about that too, and apparently he didn't even watch the movie or read the book or anything like that. He just wanted to support. So I think that's pretty dumb.
Yeah, I heard about that too. Like, I feel like canceling people like in that scenario specifically, like I don't think asking him to make a formal apology is that out there. Like even if he didn't watch the movie, or especially since he didn't watch the movie and read the book, like we don't know if he like actually thinks those things or not, but he did still harm people with his actions. So we should probably so he definitely still apologize for them. But like, I don't know, cancel culture makes it so that like people can't learn from their mistakes that much, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Like canceling is just so final, you know? Like you're completely done. There's no chance for redemption. And Kyrie, like that was it's definitely careless. Like that was posting that, sending that was definitely careless, especially without reading it. But to say that you're spreading hate, that's a little bit of a stretch. And that's where I feel like it comes in to the point where they're taking this as an opportunity to clown on a black man. That's what it feels like to me, especially one that's as successful as him.
Yeah, I feel like people jumped on it way too fast, especially because he's a black man. And Kyrie's been doing some crazy things because of his not crazy, but he like
It's a
didn't
little
play a lot of games last year because he didn't want to get vaccinated, and he's been a walking publicity stunt, and then this is just making it a lot bigger. So yeah, people jumped on it way too fast because like it's easy to get him right now.
Yeah, I had a friend. I don't know if I don't remember if I mentioned this earlier, but one of my friends, when we were discussing this, said that like she doesn't think that Black people should cancel other Black people because then that gives other people who aren't Black the chance to talk bad about Black people, and it gives them a platform, like with Candace Owens, right? Like, I remember when she came out with all of her crazy racist stuff, and people in the Black community started to cancel her, and then white people started saying stuff about like, yeah, and her hair's so nappy and ugly too, and they started saying all this racist stuff about Candace Owens, like, even though that was not the point, like that was not the reason, like, and now like they've taken it and they think, oh, since Black people don't like her, we're allowed to say all this racist stuff too in the name of justice for Black people, you know? Like, but they said that we shouldn't cancel anyone, but I don't know. I don't know if I feel like we shouldn't cancel anyone. What do you guys think?
I mean, if we don't, because black celebrities are what a lot of people get their false stereotypes from. So I think if we don't cancel anybody, like any Black person for doing something crazy, then people are just gonna have more bad ideas about Black people because that's all they're saying on like social media and the news and stuff.
I feel like Black people should still hold each other accountable for things, because if we just keep letting everybody do what they want to do, it just makes us look even worse as a group of people. But at the same time, America is a racist country. We can't control what the white people want to say when they see a Black person doing something stupid, and then they want to take it out of proportion and start mentioning things that have nothing to do with what they actually said. So we don't really have the power to do anything about how they feel about Black people at the end of the day. But we still, as a group of people, need to make sure everybody stays in line and to help each other do better, instead of just like saying, oh, you did that, we don't accept you no more. We need to help everyone to be better so we don't have more incidents like this in the future.
Yeah, but like, is there a way to both hold someone accountable within the Black community and not like, and like keep it there, like keep the accountability holding within the Black community, like especially because the internet is so public, like how would we go about doing that, like making sure we're not giving white people a platform, or not just white people, like non-Black people a platform to do racist stuff like that, you know?
I don't know if it's possible. like you all, whenever you criticize yourself, it's like if you make a joke about yourself, you leave yourself open to other people making jokes about you, if that makes sense. But and so you just gotta either ignore it or you cuss them out, but you can't cuss everyone out. That because that comes off as unprofessional, and then they perpetuate more stereotypes about you as a whole. It's just a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's impossible because, I mean, no matter what, even if black people don't hold other like black celebrities accountable, somebody is. It doesn't matter if they're non-black because then there's a whole because I mean a lot of people don't care and it's the internet, so it's easy to hide your face and hide who you are. So like I mean, even if it's not black people, then somebody is. You don't know if they're black, you don't know if they're white, you don't know if they're anything, but somebody's gonna hold somebody accountable no matter what.
Yeah, I also agree. You can't really stop non-black people from saying what they want to say about black people. It is you can't change a racist mindset. You just kind of like I don't know. You can't really fix. I mean, as of where we are right now as a society, we can't change how everybody else feels. We can only do what we can to help better our own community so that they can see their views are wrong or whatever. But really, you can't change that.
Yeah, when I was thinking about this by myself, I also like came to the conclusion like I can't think of a way either. Like to me, it seems impossible. But like then that also left me with the thought like, so which way is the best way to go if there's no way to solve all of the issues regarding canceling by people publicly? Like, is it better to like cancel them and like remove them of their status, like say we don't claim them or whatever, and just let all of that happen, or to not cancel them at all and just kind of stand behind them? Because I don't know, like at my school and like in my community, we've been talking a lot about cancel culture, like not just regarding this situation or like with celebrity like, oh sorry, like at my school and like within friend groups and everything. Like, have y'all ever had like, well, I mean, I don't know if you have, but have you ever had like a person that has said or done something like offensive or like, yeah, like something like offensive, not just to your identity, but like to someone else you knew, and then you just completely cut them off, or like everybody in the everybody like at your school or like in your inner community or like your sports team or whatever, like they just completely cut them off, like because of this action that they did. And like, how does that benefit them? How does that help them grow into someone who's not going to do that anymore? You know, like, I don't know. I just been having a lot of conversations about cancel culture recently.
For me, I had a guy that I used to be friends with in like ninth grade and then 10th grade, right? But he was like really toxic. So we were like, we gave him the opportunity like to try and change himself, like to better himself. But after like we saw that it wasn't changing, it was about time to cut him off. And then he started saying F slur. And I was like, yeah, no, we're done here. And I've not talked to that guy since like for 2 years now. You just sometimes you gotta know when to let people go.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like that is a good point to cut someone off or cancel them. But I know like at my school, we have a lot of like someone says something out of ignorance, like they just didn't even know any better. And now they're kind of like isolated because everybody mainly cut them off because they're like, why would you say that you should know better? But they just probably didn't know better. And now they would never learn to do better because everybody cut them off, you know, and now there's no one in their circle to teach them better, you know?
Yeah, and also uh that happens at a lot of schools, but also not at, like in the DMV social, not in the DMV everywhere, but in the DMV there's been a lot of cases where somebody's getting posted on a story and everybody else from other schools follows that person who posted it, and then the person tries to like switch schools or something because they don't want to be at that school that they did something bad at, and then they go to any other school and then it's the same situation. So, and then like sometimes it ends up getting violent, so like the person can never escape it, but they do learn their lesson, but sometimes they're not taught right. So it's, yeah, it's their fault, but um it would have been better if somebody had taught them right. Also.
I can see how, like, if somebody says something that was ignorant or bad, and then everybody kind of like separates themselves from them, and then the only thing that they learn is they can't say that specifically, or and nobody's explaining what exactly they said wrong or why it was wrong. So they only grow to learn not to say those type of things, but they still have, I feel like they'll still have that mindset. So it is good to educate in a way, but honestly, I feel like at least at this age or grade or whatever, you should know better. I mean, the internet is everywhere. Everybody talks about more issues and things. So I feel like you should know by now. Now, if you actually don't know, one, I don't know why you don't, but two, it's okay to educate people on that stuff, but I feel like that you should know by now, or depending on your age, you should know, unless you really, so I guess some just don't, but that makes sense.
Yeah, but like sometimes the person just doesn't learn it all from being canceled, you know? Like imagine you like you made a joke about Black people liking fried chicken, for example, right? Which is like clearly racist, very harmful. Like that's so rude and disrespectful for you to say, especially if you're someone who's not Black, right? And now everybody's canceled you. But you go back home and your whole family is like, you didn't do anything wrong because that's where you learned this from, right? You go to your close friends and they're like, you ain't do nothing wrong because that's where you learned this from. And now there's no one in your life telling you like, oh, it makes sense that everybody hates you now because you just said this extremely racist thing. Like the only people in your life, the only people left in your life are people who told you that you could say this in the first place, right? So like that's how it gets so people aren't learning anything. And now they just feel like, oh, everybody is bullying me and everybody hates me and I have no idea why. They're just targeting me for no reason because I have a different opinion than them. Right? So like because sometimes I feel like you should know better too. Like the internet is so broad. Like I don't know, like sometimes I just get information on the internet I didn't even ask for, right? Like you just like there's so much information out there. You could easily look this up and find out that you should not be saying stuff like that, or you should not be doing stuff like that. But sometimes people are only exposed to people or information telling them that you did nothing wrong, you know? And that's when I feel like cancel culture is like a bit toxic or harmful. You know, like, what are you guys' thoughts?
I agree.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like if you want to cancel somebody or to get the purpose behind canceling somebody to be more effective, you should explain to them and why what they did was wrong, for them to actually learn from the experience instead of just telling them, oh, you shouldn't say that. Oh, why would you say that? And then da 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 da. And then they just move on with their lives. And then later down the line, they'll say something again similar to that, thinking it's okay, or they're, because they don't really know for real. So if you really plan on trying to cancel somebody, educate them while you're trying to do that as well, so they don't make those same mistakes.
Yeah. And like at my school, we watched this like TED Talk. I don't remember the woman's name, but she said that her job was she went into hate groups and talked to them about their ideologies and stuff. And she was a Black woman, and she talked about like calling in instead of calling out, right? Like calling out would be canceling someone, and calling in would be like pulling a racist or a bigot into a conversation and saying, so why do you think that way? You know, and like trying to like have a conversation to genuinely change their ideologies. But like personally, like sometimes I don't know if I am like, I applaud her for doing that. She's doing great work, but I am not sure I'm like a strong enough person to pull a racist into a conversation and sit them down and be like, so why do you hate Black people? So why do you think I don't deserve rights or whatever? You know, like she said, she talked about how she goes into Klan rallies and talks to these people. Like, I'm not sure I can be the kind of person to call somebody in, you know, like that seems like beyond me, even though like I see the benefits of it and I see why cancel culture can be harmful. I still sometimes feel like, yeah, nah, somebody else can take that one, you know?
I'm definitely not the person for that, because I like when I'm in an argument with somebody, like especially if they're like, if you're a racist, and I'll purposely engage you in an argument just to make you a little bit mad, because I don't know, I like messing with those type of people. It's a little bit funny to me, so I don't think I could do that. But if she does it and she gets like a little group, that's great for them, and I hope that they change a lot of people's minds. But
Cameron, I have a question. So was her whole purpose to understand their ideology, their like mindset, or was she trying to persuade them to broaden their mind on their hate? Like, was he trying to persuade them why they were wrong, or was he just trying to gain insight on why they thought that way?
Well, she was from what she said, it sounded like she was trying to persuade them to change their mindset through the guise of trying to understand them, you know, like sitting them down and talking about like, why do you think that way? And poking holes in their ideologies, because the holes are there. It's obviously not right, right? Like so she would talk to them and try to get them to come to the conclusion themselves, like, oh wait, why do I think this, you know? I mean, she's a bigger person than me. I could not do that. Like, even at school, I don't even think I could sit somebody down who says something like extremely racist or someone with like an extremely racist ideology, I don't think I could have a conversation like that with someone. I think I would get mad and it would turn into a debate before it even like did any help at all.
Especially as a Black person, like negotiating with someone who claims that they hate you and think that you're less than them, like I can't talk. I just stay away from that type of stuff.
I also feel like to even have that conversation, you have to be willing to break down all your opinions and really try to think from their point of view. And I think that'd be very difficult being Black, trying to understand somebody who doesn't like Black people for reasons that really don't make any sense. So you really have to put yourself in that shoe to really understand. And that is something I cannot do.
Yeah. Any last comments? I think this was a really good conversation we had today. Oh, see you next time, guys.
All right, bye.
Bye, guys.